Chuck, I want to thank you very much for joining me on Real Feel Insights. I'm excited for today. I get to see you a lot around our local town, but I really don't know a lot about you. So, can you tell me a little bit about where you grew up?
Okay. Well, I was born in Minneapolis, and my family moved to Detroit Lakes when I was 9 years old, and grew up in Detroit Lakes, graduated from high school here. My dad is a funeral director, was a funeral director. So I'm a second generation. That's how I got interested in this.
Was he here in the Lakes area, or was he in Minneapolis?
He was in the Lakes area. Interesting enough, he was a casket salesman for many years. And so I was always around a lot of funeral directors, clients of his that he sold caskets to. He always maintained his funeral directing license over the years. And then 1979, he bought the funeral home in Detroit Lakes. And I went to graduated from Detroit Lakes High School, went to St. Cloud State University for 2 years, and then to the University of Minnesota School of Mortuary Science.
So you knew you were going to...
I think from about the 7th grade, to tell you the truth.
You did?
I did.
Okay,
I
okay,
did.
okay. That's not an occupation, when you're around that age that you think that, that you would like, it's not typical, to get into that. Did you know that that was a little bit of a unique occupation to get into, even with?
No.
Okay.
I grew up in the funeral home. I grew up around it. Like I said, I was around a lot of funeral directors. I thought they were really good people.
Okay.
And
Sure.
probably knew that I had the opportunity to someday live in this area where I
Okay.
wanted to be
Okay.
and own a business.
Okay.
So that
Well, you
was
just
probably part of it.
Fell right into it. You have siblings?
I am the middle child of 5.
Ooh, okay. So 1, 2, 3. The third one then?
Third one.
Third
yeah.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Brothers, sisters?
I have 3 sisters and a brother.
3 sisters and then 1 other brother.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So
Were they all born in the Twin Cities area?
yes,
Okay. So
Yes.
born and raised.
but they all went to school in Detroit.
Okay.
Detroit Lakes.
Okay.
I'm able to say that.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So move back then to the Lakes area.
Yeah.
Do you have any other siblings that are in the same business?
No, I don't. But 3 of them are nurses. My mom was a nurse.
Okay.
So nurses and funeral directors
Okay.
is what we had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting. So you moved back here, and then your dad had
Yeah.
bought-
So I graduated from the University of Minnesota. I took my first job in the funeral industry in Minneapolis, and I worked there for 10 years.
Okay. Okay.
And I was married, had my kids in Minneapolis, just kind of waiting for my dad to retire,
Sure.
so there was room for me here. And so I moved back here in 1993 and took over the funeral home. And I owned that funeral home up until 8 years ago. I sold to a corporation that owns many funeral homes in this area. The reason I did that, I think, was mainly to see if I could extend my career a little bit. What we do is really both physically and emotionally difficult. And the physical part of it is that we're on call many nights. And I don't know if people realize it, but when we receive a call that someone has died, it doesn't matter if it's day or night, we go to work. And as you age, that gets tougher. And so 8 years ago, I had the opportunity to sell and to be taken off of the on-call schedule. So I basically work days.
So what I think I'm hearing you say is that it's just extreme. When you own it and operate it, It's a 24/7.
It's your lifestyle.
It's your
It really
lifestyle.
is. It's
Okay.
totally your life.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, and it's a physical job. You don't realize that either. There's a lot of lifting, and lifting at 2:00 in the morning when you just got out of bed 20 minutes before, and that.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it's physical.
Right, yeah.
And as you age,
Yeah.
that
So
you feel that.
A little bit more difficult.
So
I'm going to ask you a question. I mean, this is your occupation, so I'm hoping that you enjoy some of my questions.
I like talking about it.
Okay, but from my point of view, I feel a little bit awkward asking some of these just because this is not a typical conversation that I have in a day. But I think it's going to be really interesting for not only me, but our viewers. So when you say that you get a call and then you have to go there and lift, so obviously we're talking about the deceased. And so who gives you the call? Who's the one that makes the call to the funeral home? Let's say that it's a hospital, that somebody passed away in a hospital.
Yeah, it's generally a charge nurse,
Okay.
or the night supervisor,
Okay.
whoever.
Okay.
Usually it's from that facility that gives us the call.
Okay. And you don't say, they don't wait until like in the morning. They call you at 2:00 in the morning, and then you can't say, oh, I'll be there at 8:00.
No, because just out of the dignity of the deceased, we just feel that we should respond as soon as we can. So that's basically why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's probably a lot of communication probably between let's say it happened and took place at the hospital. The nurses or the doctors are going to let the family take as much time as they want.
Right.
And then you get the call to say, okay, it might be another hour, or, they're going to be here for a while, just giving you a heads up. At 7:00, I think would be a good time. Is that kind of the
Right.
dialogue between
Right.
staff?
And
Okay.
oftentimes we're actually making our first contact with family at that time.
Okay.
Be it the nursing home room or the hospital room.
Okay.
Unless it's middle of the night
Okay.
type situation. But that's usually our first contact with the family.
Okay. Okay.
Then we're usually asking them about, well, we're asking them numerous questions. Do they have a church affiliation? What is that church? Does their pastor know that this has happened? What type of service are they going to be choosing? Is it a traditional service with a casketed earth burial, or is it a cremation? So those, and we ask that because we have to know what our next task is going to be. So say we're at the nursing home and they said, oh, it's going to be a traditional earth burial. We're going to have a viewing. So then when we get back to the funeral home, then we start the body preparation right away. Maybe they tell us there's going to be a cremation and a memorial service without a body present, then we don't have to do the embalming. So
Okay.
that's probably the most important thing to learn.
I have to just kind of back up a little bit. At that moment, when you say that that's your first point of contact with the family, you are dealing with emotions,
Oh, yeah.
distraught, how to approach that. I think about firefighters and policemen that are coming in on a fire or something. They're running in, and the average person, is running out. Funeral director, on those hard times, I mean, you're seeing them at their absolute worst. You're going in where the average person just, we're not educated on how to handle that. Just approaching things.
Yeah, I would say the most intimidating thing we do is to enter someone's home to bring someone into our care. There's times that we enter their home and there could be 20 or 30 family members standing there around, and in you come and you can't really introduce yourself to everyone, but you kind of say, hi, I'm, and you do, but it's a little intimidating in someone else's home.
Just overwhelming.
Yeah,
Too
it
many
is.
people and
It
things.
is.
so you brought me to a different question. So like, let's say that somebody does pass away in the home. Is there usually typically law enforcement there with the unattended?
I guess typically what we see in home deaths is they're under hospice care probably.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
so no.
Okay.
But there are some unattended deaths where, yes, there'd be a deputy
Okay.
in the home.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
When there's an investigation into the death, how's that handled?
Well, our coroner gets involved, and if there's an autopsy, which is a investigation of the body, is ordered by our coroner, then Ramsey County, which is the St. Paul side of the Twin Cities, is where that individual's brought for an autopsy.
Okay. Okay.
We don't have a forensic pathologist in this area.
Okay. I understand.
So we go to St.
Okay.
Paul.
Okay. Okay. So then even at that time, you're probably not called in then if the body is going to be taken.
Yeah, we're the transport person.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay. The funeral home is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so
Okay.
we are called in right away.
Okay. I would think that maybe law enforcement, if it,
They're not equipped
Okay.
to transport.
Okay.
So we do that on behalf of the county.
okay. And you bring them there for the autopsy?
So, the deputy would arrive at the home. He would do a little bit of a recon and see what's going on.
Sure.
Call the coroner.
Okay.
Coroner has access to that person's medical records. She would check that out, and if it's obvious that this person's been
Right.
ill or being treated
Yep.
for,
Okay.
she might say, fine, tell the funeral home they can take the
Okay.
individual.
Okay.
Or she might say, tell the funeral home to go to St. Paul.
Okay.
So
Okay. This is intriguing to me. This is these questions, to ask, like, because this isn't something that I think about, like often. A lot of these different steps that are. What happens when you get there's a lot of deaths? Let's just not at one place, but this hospital, that hospital, a couple of them in this nursing home, and you're overwhelmed. Does that ever happen?
Oh, it has. It
Okay.
has.
Okay.
I mean, hopefully you're staffed properly.
Okay.
But when you run a small funeral home and you don't have a lot of staff, you just go until you can't
Okay.
go anymore.
Okay.
Which
Sure.
I guess I've had instances where I had been to work for 48 hours without going home.
Okay.
Not a lot, but it happens. You just
Wow.
go until you.
You are just like you said, it's 24/7. It is your lifestyle.
It is your life. It is.
Wow. You have really you're a dedicated individual too.
Well, you need to be. You have to be.
Do you love what you do?
I do.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's and to tell you the truth, that's why we're having, like a lot of industries, we're having trouble getting help today. And I just think that in rural America, like we're in, I just don't know if the next generation is prepared to commit themselves like they have to.
Can you,
And
I'm going to stop you right there. Explain that to me. What is it
Well,
that you need?
I mean, to make it your life.
Okay.
So a lot of these kids are coming out of college and they're maybe choosing to stay metro, in a metro area, more so because they have so much more staff around them.
I understand. Okay.
So it's more of a
Okay.
normal hours.
Sure. Because they have more staff.
yeah.
So when you're off at 5 o'clock or 7
Yeah.
o'clock or whatever it is, you're off and the next come in.
Right.
When it's a rural community like you
Right.
serve,
Yeah.
you don't get that option.
Yeah, because my funeral home, for years, we ran it with, it was just myself, one other licensed funeral director, and a office person.
Wow.
So You know, there was times that both funeral directors worked many days in a row when, even though we were technically supposed to have
I understand.
a certain day off, that's just how it goes.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Your level of commitment is just, it's really, really amazing. And it's very inspirational, honestly. As a family that you, you know, that you serve, you know, I mean, you have to have that commitment, you know, and it has to come from the heart. Really, your service does. You have to be available 24/7. You know, you really have to be and love what you do.
It's, yes, but it's also, it also gives me a lot of satisfaction knowing that I'm helping these people. So it isn't just my commitment is amazing.
Okay.
What I see in a family or an individual is amazing to me, how the difference between when I first meet them, when this has just happened in their lives, to watching them after the funeral process and through their grief and coming out on the other side of a healthy person. Really, it's inspirational to me.
To you.
Yeah.
I
You
see
bet.
that.
You
yeah.
bet.
Yes, that is. Do you have any suggestions or ideas that you've witnessed after all these years that has, and I know everybody's very individualized, but that has helped and that you would give a suggestion to help the process?
Well, so now you're talking to an old guy
Okay.
who has real solid opinions on how I think things should go.
Sure.
But that's just my opinion. And I will tell you that I think the funeral process, and that is the viewing of a body,
Okay.
having a public visitation where your community has an invitation to come and provide support for you. Having a funeral service, we didn't just make this up over years that this is what we think is the best for people. I just believe it is. What we're concerned about today and what I'm concerned about with people are the people. I'm not against cremation. I want to preface that.
Yep. I understand.
But how people arrive at that differs. And we're having more people today that just call, ask us to cremate their loved one, and they come in and they pick up the cremated remains and we never see them again. And they never have a funeral service, and we don't even know what's happened to those cremains. That concerns me a little bit with how they're going to process this in the future. And we're seeing more and more of it. But it's just society in general, and I don't want to get off on a tangent and give you my opinions on what society is doing today, really, but because it's bound to change. But how we care for the deceased in this country right now, I question it a little bit.
Fair enough. I really appreciate that, Chuck, more than you know, that honesty and your insight into it. I asked you, and you gave me your honest feeling, and that's what I wanted. But I'm also going to give you a little bit of a personal situation of my own. You know, when my husband passed away 4 years ago now, and so I was 46 at the time, had no idea that this is what I was going to be presented with. So we went ahead with, full funeral, body viewing, and I didn't know this at the time, But for me personally, and this is my opinion, and again, I'm just like you, I'm not telling somebody to do something or not to do something. I didn't know it at the time, but I really, really appreciated the fact that I had that time to go to, the viewing, to see his physical body after we left it at the hospital. When something like that happens, it's so tragic. I think your brain has a way of protecting itself. So it's not accepting reality or something, is the only way I can explain it. So when I went to the funeral, even as, as zoned as I was and, not in the moment at all, I still put one foot in front of the next, went to my husband's funeral visitation, saw him, went through that funeral, as painful and as hard as it is. Then we went to the cemetery, and I literally watched the body, descending into the ground. That's a long ways down there, six feet down. And I now look back on that, and I think that was a contributing factor into my ability to accept reality a little bit faster. I don't know. It might be my personality, might be my character.
I totally agree. I heard a pastor recently speak on, he wasn't talking about the funeral industry, but I relate a lot to
Sure.
my industry.
Sure.
And if you've ever, outside of theaters, usually, a lot of times you'll see two masks. They look kind of like mime masks.
Okay.
One of those masks represents tragedy,
Okay.
and the other mask represents comedy.
Okay.
So what this pastor was saying is, in society today, we choose to skip the tragedy part and go right to comedy. And that hit me especially hard in the funeral industry, because that's what I think people are doing. By not having a funeral service, by not viewing a body, they're skipping the tragedy, and you can't skip the tragedy.
Wow.
I don't feel that you can.
Wow.
You need that. Then let's go on to the comedy.
Okay.
Okay,
Wow.
so you're seeing a kind of a catchphrase in the last 10 years, celebration of life.
Okay.
Everyone uses that. It's just, everyone says, oh, we're not having a funeral, we're having a celebration of life. That's okay, but I think you have to have a funeral first.
Okay.
Or I think you have to call it a funeral, or I think you have to go through some of that. You know, I don't know if you can just experience a death and then ask the funeral home to cremate the body, and you don't want to see that body again because you want to remember them how they looked the last time you saw them, and then go to a saloon or go to the park and have a celebration of life. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Sure. I appreciate
And
your
I know I'm
honesty.
being maybe a little controversial here to some people.
Yeah.
But
I don't-
that's
I don't
just
think
how
you
I feel.
are. I ask you the question of, over all these years, what you've witnessed, families and loved ones, what benefits them, and I think you're being very honest. It can be controversial of a viewer listening to it and they take offense, and I don't think that's what you want. You're just giving your suggestion or your opinion. I think a lot of times cremation is cost effective. I think it's a little cheaper.
I think it is, and I really think the main reason why our society's changed to cremation is that, first of all, we don't live around each other anymore. We live all over the country or the world.
Sure.
When we have a traditional funeral where we have to care for a human body before the burial, we're usually working a lot of times within a week. Okay?
Right.
That doesn't work for people
Right.
anymore.
I
Because they
understand.
can't gather all these family members in a timely manner to do that. So what they like they like the fact that they can have the cremation done, and then you can have a service whenever.
Okay.
Like they don't like to be hemmed in to that week. I think that's the main reason. Financially, that does factor into it, but I just think it's more the timeliness of it.
Okay.
What that's creating, though, is a new issue, though,
Okay.
which is a death that happens, let's just say in January, and the funeral happens in July. And a real delayed funeral. And you guys have seen that, where you've heard that someone dies, and the funeral's not till.
Sure. Right.
So we're seeing a lot of delayed funerals.
Okay. Okay.
We're also seeing some families that after that delay don't end up having it at all.
Oh, sure.
And that's a concern.
The intention is there.
Yeah,
And then it's
but then
like,
they just go, we're good,
yeah. Okay.
so
Okay. Yeah.
that's kind of
Sure.
been a new trend.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Another thing I think of, like years ago, I always remember a lot of funerals were at churches. And
Absolutely.
Now a lot of them are at funeral homes. The actual service, the whole thing.
Absolutely. More people don't have a home church
Okay,
today.
sure.
And that is a whole nother issue. Our funeral homes then are under a lot more pressure to serve people in the capacity of having the funeral there and having a lunch in the funeral home. Now, my funeral home was built in 1988, and if you would have said in 1988 that we'd have to build a fellowship hall for a lunch, we wouldn't have believed you.
Sure.
And now it's super important for a funeral home to be able to host a lunch.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, I think society, all of us know this. I mean, this is a hot topic in the world. Not a lot of people have church homes. They're not going to church, so they don't have a church home. So then the funeral home has to step up.
You have to find a venue,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I'm going to change here a little bit real quick because I don't want to forget this question. So what is the difference between a mortician and a funeral home director?
Nothing.
Okay.
There really isn't
Okay.
anything. It's just what do you want to call us? In the Wild West days, we were undertakers.
Oh, an undertaker.
Same thing.
Okay.
Undertaker, mortician, funeral director.
Okay. What do you prefer to be referred to?
Funeral director
Funeral director.
is a little more of a modern term.
Okay. So not mortician.
No, but that's the Minnesota Department of Health licenses us as morticians.
Okay.
That's our official
Okay.
name.
Okay. So officially under that degree, what do you get to do? What is it that you can do? Like, okay, so I don't always know all the questions to ask
right.
right here, so I'm
That's
just going to
okay.
be honest. Okay, so I think of like when you receive the body at the funeral home, like embalming. Let's say we're going to have a full body view.
Yeah.
Is a mortician?
Yeah.
Are
Well, you'd have to be a licensed mortician
Okay.
to embalm a body.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
So you have to have that license. You have to carry that license to be able to do the embalming. Okay.
Correct.
Does that funeral director or mortician that has that license, are they able to do the cremation of a body then as well, or is that a different title?
They're able to, but they have to take their education just a little step further to be a certified crematory operator.
Okay.
I am not,
Okay.
by the way.
Okay.
I am not.
Okay. So that's a different.
Just a little. It's not. It's just a course you have to take, really.
Do you have to become a mortician first and then you can?
No, you can be a certified crematory operator
Okay.
and not be a mortician.
Okay. Okay. So you want to, if you're the owner of a funeral home, you want to have a mortician on board, and then you also want to have a what did you say?
I'd call it a certified crematory operator.
Operator. Okay.
Yeah.
Just probably to operate the machine itself too.
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're getting into some questions here that I kind of want to know. It's intriguing to me, but like, how long does it take for a body to get to the end process of where it's done? Like
Well-
completely cremated.
Oh, cremation. 2.5 hours. I
Okay.
would say on average,
Okay, okay.
2.5 hours.
What happens, okay, so what happens if there's like a hip replacement? Does that
Okay.
titanium?
Okay, so when the crematory operator is finished,
Okay,
and now he has to gather the cremated remains
Okay.
to place it in an urn.
right,
A lot of times there are metal parts or
Right.
parts that did not burn,
burn, okay,
and he removes those.
Okay.
They're actually placed in a recyclable container.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I've always wondered about that, like
Yeah.
what, does it get hot enough that it melts that?
Not everything.
Not everything,
Not
okay,
everything.
okay,
No.
okay. So about 2.5 hours,
Yep.
and then, okay, then that process. So you don't do that, but you do the actual embalming,
I embalm.
Okay.
And I cosmetize.
okay, okay.
Yep. So embalming also takes probably 2 to 2.5 hours if everything goes right.
Okay, okay,
Then you'd probably spend another hour on cosmetics and
Okay.
dressing,
okay,
placing them in their casket. So it's probably a 3 to 4 hour process.
okay,
Yeah. Now that's something that's been changed a lot with cremation.
okay,
So I was, when I started in this business, a big part of what we did was preparing bodies for viewing. That's kind of been taken away from us a little bit with the cremation.
okay,
Okay. And that's caused our new morticians to not get the practical experience.
Oh, sure.
And so it's kind of taking them a little bit longer to be proficient at that.
okay, okay.
Okay.
Sure, yeah. What's the percentage between like embalming and cremation?
In this area, approximately 70% of our clientele are being cremated.
Okay,
So interesting enough, 33 years ago when I came here, we had 0 cremation.
okay,
It wasn't even on the radar 33 years ago. So in 30 years, our society's taken
changed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and sometimes I hear certain views on cremation that it's not in their religion, to do that. So it's not only a change, but it's spiritual change. There's some people that don't believe in cremation because of their belief, too, for whatever reason. Families. Tell me about that. Working with, I would think that like the dynamic of families, you have blended families, you have X's and you have ins and in-laws and, outlaws. That would be a little bit difficult, who to really communicate with.
Yep.
And you're going to have somebody that might be a little bit more stronger in their opinions, but
Yep.
they might not have the right to be in that position.
Correct.
Yeah.
I guess, so first things, I think the most important thing a funeral director can have is to be a good listener. Yeah, you need to be compassionate and stuff, but you have to listen. You have to know who's around. You have to listen to everyone around that table, and you can usually figure out who your go-to person is or who the decision maker is. Maybe it isn't even the legal correct person to make those decisions, and I can tell you it's usually a woman.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I like when women are part of the planning process. Guys just
Sure. You want some details.
right.
You're
right,
looking for
right.
details.
So it's usually, if it isn't a daughter, it's a daughter-in-law.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
you just really have to listen. There's a lot of, when I started in this business, if you had a family sitting at the table with you, chances are they were all of the same religious denomination still. They all attended church. Everything just went like clockwork. And today, they might represent every denomination
Sure.
out there.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, there's just,
Yeah.
it's more difficult
Right.
today,
A little
all
bit
the time.
to navigate through that. That's
Yes.
why I ask you that
Yes.
question. I would think that it would be a little bit difficult to appease everybody because there's so many, different points
Absolutely.
of view. So you have to kind of maybe go back down to who's the one that's really calling the shots, who's,
Yep,
you know.
absolutely.
Do you like it when there's a lot of pre-planning, funeral pre-planning? Does that make it easier for the family?
I think it makes it easier financially.
Okay.
Because usually our pre-planning goes along with pre-funding of
sure,
the money.
right.
Pre-planning it can work for and it can work against you a little bit, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
If some of these, if they were done 30 years ago, a lot of it doesn't even pertain, so much has changed.
Okay.
But in general, it's a great thing. I would recommend that to anybody.
Well, I think about, when Brad passed away, I was his wife, so I was the one that, wasn't something that we thought was going to be happening. So we didn't really have anything lined up or talked,
Right.
About any of that stuff. But I think about like if we would have, both went at the same time in a, tragic car accident and didn't have anything, and now we have 6 children, so now you have 6 inputs,
Right.
that have no direction.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more difficult, to get 6 different inputs. Obviously
Absolutely.
some of them probably would be a little bit more vocal and some a little bit not vocal. But I always think, gosh, I do have things kind of lined up now because I am the only, Brad is gone, so it's just me, and
Yeah.
not that I'm really, this way or that way. There's a few things that they can
Yep.
make decisions on, but I think it's important to at least have a few things, written down to help.
I do too.
You
Yep.
know,
Definitely.
because you never know what tomorrow will bring.
No, you don't.
So
You don't. And again, the majority of people that are doing pre-arrangements or pre-planning are protecting assets. They're not 40-some-year-old people. They're people that are entering long-term care facilities. They can see that their assets are going to all go for their care. And if they put this away now, they always have it for a funeral.
well, then they're not burdening the second, the next generation.
So
either to
that's
cover
kind
that
of
cost.
the main goal there. Yep. Yep.
Are you happy you went in the direction you went
Oh,
in?
I don't even know what else I would do,
Sure.
Sarah.
Yeah.
I don't. I think about retirement, and it scares me a little bit that I don't know how to do anything else really, because it's been my life.
You poured your life into it.
And in a weird way, you kind of think, how's it going to feel when you're not needed?
Oh, sure.
It's that'll be a little strange, I think. I think of that too.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You like that. That feel. You like to give.
I do. I
you
do.
like to help.
I do.
Nurses have that. Doctors have that. They want to help.
Yeah.
And you just have a way. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, you have given me such an insight into your occupation. It has been a real. I guess it's not a conversation. You just pick up and say, I'll ask all these questions that I ask you today. But it's in the back of ordinary people like myself that's not in your occupation that we want to know some of those things, and it's super intriguing. It really is. What I noticed is your level of sincerity. I mean, you literally have to be sincerely meet your clients where they're at, no matter where it is. You just have to be like you said, a good listener. You're just sincerely dedicated and devoted to your career.
Yeah.
You really are. It's really.
We try. We
Yeah.
try to be.
You don't see that very often anymore. That level of sincerity to your occupation
And the advantage that we have in a rural community is that you make relationships and a lot of people that you're dealing with. Now that can work
I
against
was
you
going to
too,
say.
especially as you age. You start to have funerals for people that are friends of yours and more your age, and that can be hard on people too.
Are you able to disconnect a little bit and from your job and your personal? Can you do that?
Yeah, I think if I couldn't, I wouldn't
Okay.
be in it still.
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
So yeah, so far I'm able to.
Well, that would be,
But-
your friends' children,
Right.
your friends,
Yeah.
that, I mean, if they're a friend's child, I mean, you love that child because they're your
Yeah.
friends, and then
Or your children.
okay.
I mean, there's always that possibility too, right? I had funerals for my parents, and it was interesting. I could write a book on my emotions with my parents. Because my father and I were in the same industry, he was more like a business partner to me.
Oh, okay.
And so I was really involved in my dad's funeral. Like, for instance, I embalmed my dad's body.
Okay.
And a lot of funeral directors would sit back when I say that and go, "What are you doing?" I felt that, well, first of all, I'm the best embalmer there is, right?
Oh, okay.
So if you don't feel like you are,
I got it.
why would you be doing it? So I felt like he wanted me to do that because I'm the best, right? So I did that, but I didn't act properly during the funeral. Like, I never got out of funeral director mode.
Okay. Interesting.
Like, I remember at his visitation, I was standing at the door handing out programs. And I remember at the time one of my family members saying, there's other people that work here that can do this. This is your dad. But I couldn't really get out of the funeral home mode. So I don't think I acted real appropriately. When my mother died, I just totally took the role of a family, of a son.
Okay. You couldn't.
Didn't want anything to do with
Okay.
that part of it.
Okay.
So it's interesting.
It is
how
very
you,
interesting.
how you act during those times too.
Well, you're human.
Well,
I mean, you're a human. You have a professional side of you, but yet you're a human person too, and you have your own emotions.
yeah,
And your own connections to those people. Yeah. How do you handle that when you have a real close friend? Do you just there's got to be a level of compassion?
Well, I guess you would rely on anybody like your immediate family. Obviously you have to have a funeral director's spouse is critical to what they do. Your kids, your coworkers, anyone like that supports you, and they pick up the slack for you if you're missing something or whatever.
Do you have any hobbies?
I do a little hunting. I'm a deer hunter. I pheasant hunt in South Dakota. I take a couple of trips out there every fall. I golf. I don't golf as much as I once did, but I enjoy golf. I have a pontoon on a lake. Just do this.
Yeah,
whatever.
you've talked about retirement a few times in this conversation, and
But I'm not a woodworker. I'm not a handyman. I can't fix anything.
Okay, well, you might have to pull that pontoon out a little bit more often.
I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I like lawn work.
Oh, okay.
I like to cut grass.
Okay. All right. Do you do
Yeah.
any gardening?
No,
Flowers?
not really.
Nothing?
Not too much gardening.
Nothing
No,
like
I just
that.
like to cut grass.
Cut grass. Yeah. What do you do when you get a little bit overloaded? When you know that you're just kind of like, you know what? It's just a little bit too heavy, too much. I just need to get a.
Find somebody to complain to.
Oh, okay.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You
Yeah.
need an outlet, a verbal outlet of just.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah.
Do you have friends that are outside of the funeral home?
Interesting thing about me and friends, I would say I don't have very many friends.
Okay.
mainly because of what my work schedule's been over the years. It seems like someone would call me and say, hey, let's go fishing on Thursday night. And I'd go, I can't, I'm on call. And then they'd probably try you one more time.
Oh,
And
sure.
if they happen to hit your night on call again, they're like, well, this guy's,
Right.
you know,
Right.
this is futile.
Right. Yeah.
And so I don't have a lot of
Sure.
close friends.
Yeah.
I would say I have a lot of acquaintances, and,
Sure.
and I know a lot of people.
Right.
They know me, but
Right.
real friends.
Yeah. Yeah. You were very difficult to pin down on a date
Hey,
when I was
I know,
was trying.
I know.
But if you know anything about me, I am relentless and I won't give up.
I just canceled the dental appointment for the second time on my way here today.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So same thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
stuff just comes up.
Sure. Are you do you sometimes think it's a little bit of a lonely life because of your occupation?
I've never felt that way
Okay.
myself. I've never felt that way.
Okay.
No.
Chuck, I would think that just surrounding yourself, with your occupation, I mean, you're around death all the time. It's just, a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service that you are doing. You're remarkable. I do have to say that. Your amount of service to families and to the deceased, it's really, actually, it's inspiring. To me, I didn't think I was going to feel that way coming from you, but I'm inspired by your ability to genuinely be of service to the family and to the deceased, and you want to make the best for them. It's really, you just radiate that. I can just feel that. But I would think that being around that all the time, does that ever, just that pressure or that, just being around death, does it sometimes just overburden you a little bit, or?
Yes, I would say at times, but that's why I guess when it does, I can rely on family support, co-workers, like I said, and actually my faith is super important in this business, for sure. So I really don't know how anybody deals with death without a strong faith.
Wow.
I just
Wow.
don't.
Yeah, this has been very, very informative. I'm very thankful, Chuck, that you joined us on Real Feel Insights.
I never pass up a chance to talk really about what I do.
Okay.
I'm always, I don't turn too many
Sure.
people down that want to
Right.
talk.
Well, and I think I started this out. I feel a little bit kind of uncomfortable or awkward asking some of these questions. It's just not something, you go and talk to a friend over a glass of wine or a cup of coffee about. And you were very helpful in explaining it. You were very honest. You were very real. And I thank you for that. I really do.
I appreciate that.
Yes, I appreciate
Thank
you
you for
joining.
having me.
Yes, on Real Feel Insights. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.